The three different types of job interviews are structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. We're going to look at semi-structured a little further in depth. Let's go over some common interview errors. First impression errors occur because many interviewers form a strong first impression of a candidate they've never even met before. First impression error can be focused totally on the first appearance, or even some information they've heard about the candidate. The halo effect occurs when interviewers' impressions of a single positive dimension about a candidate's appearance, performance in a single task, or background can substantially color the interview's overall impression. If you have the halo effect, you're also going to have the devil horns. This is when a single negative trait or impression often causes interviewers to see everything a candidate says or does as unforgivable light. Another error is the contrast error. It is common to interview several candidates for the same position and to compare the candidates with one another. This isn't right though. Candidates should be compared not to one another, but to the standards a company has. Asking the wrong questions can lead to lawsuits sometimes. So make sure to never ask questions regarding the individual's preferred title, marital status, age, sex, disability, race, address, place of birth, or even religion. It is never okay to ask if an applicant has children. That question can be avoided by asking things like, do you have any commitments or responsibilities that may affect your work attendance? Generally, people think of their children as a pretty big responsibility, and there's a good chance children will come up in their answer. Be very familiar with what is okay and what is not okay. Always remember, when you don't know if a question is permitted, avoid asking the question. To better help you interview candidates, let's look at the interview format. Preparation is key. When preparing for an interview, it is important to know as much as possible about the applicant before they come in. Make sure to go over the application, resume, and list of references beforehand. Next, let's take a look at the opening. An opening should be professional. A simple introduction works just fine. The interviewer should ask questions that the applicant already knows the answers to, such as, "Nice day outside, isn't it?" This helps break the ice and move the interview along. Here's an example of a proper opening.
Hi, you must be Arthur?
Hi, yeah, I'm Arthur.
Lou, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How's the ride in?
All right. Yeah, that's fine. Finally wrong.
Now let's gather information. This is the most important part of the interview process. This is the time when you ask the applicant questions about their experience, qualities, etc. There are three types of questions that can be asked. The first type is direct question. These are straightforward questions that tend to get close-ended answers. Let's take a look at one.
It says here you've worked for 2 other restaurants before. Do you mind telling me the reason you left those places?
No problem. The first one, actually, I was moving. I moved to a different city, so I didn't...
Next are situational questions. These are hypothetical situations posed to the applicant in order to see what they would do if they ever got caught in that situation. Here's a good example.
In the event that another employee was stealing, which I hope would never happen, what would be your course of action? What would you do?
Well, stealing is highly illegal and bad for the company, so of course I would notify manager or you.
Next is behavioral questions. This is where the employer asks if the applicant had ever been in a particular situation and asks them to elaborate. Let's take a look.
In your past job experiences, have you ever had to make a tough decision? And if so, what was it?
Well, yeah, in the last management job I had to fire a good friend, a close employee.
Next, we're going to give information. In this part of the process, the interviewer should try and sell the company. This can be done through informing the applicant of any perks there are to working there, such as benefits, programs, or anything extra that the employees get access to.
A few things about us as a company. Last year, we were ranked the best of Columbia restaurant. That's something we're pretty proud of and we plan to do for the next few years to come. We'd like you to be a part of that.
We're almost done. Pre-closing is next. Before concluding the interview, it is important to make sure all your questions are answered, as well as the questions of the applicant. It is a good idea to ask the applicant if they have anything else to add. Is there anything else you'd like to know? Is something you could ask them. Here's an example.
Is there anything else you'd like to add as far as why you'd be a good fit for the company?
Well, I think we covered everything.
Once you get your answer, it's time for the closing. There are two ways to close the interview. If the interview went well and you are considering the applicant for the position, it's a good practice to tell them that you are interested in hiring them. Give a time frame for when you will be getting in touch with them, and thank them for coming in. Let's take a look.
Well, we are very interested. I will say that we are conducting interviews until the end of the week.
Okay.
So we should let you know sometime Monday or Tuesday. I would expect a call.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much.
Many times when hiring you won't be interested. Unfortunately, not all interviews go well, and not all applicants are right for the job. Here you want to make it known that you aren't considering them for the job in a kind manner. Remember to thank them for coming in and that you'll consider them if any other positions arise. Here's an example.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. At this point, I don't think you're exactly the right fit for this position. However, I will keep your resume on file, and if I see anything else that I think is a good fit for, I will give you a call. Thank you.
Hopefully this has helped with any questions regarding an unstructured interview. Good luck.